My eyes snap open, not to the sterile white of a hospital ceiling or the suffocating darkness of a coffin, but to the familiar floral wallpaper of my childhood bedroom. It's too bright, too real. My hand, small and unblemished, flies to my throat. No searing pain, no telltale tingle of oleander. I'm breathing, really breathing. Then I see it. Hanging on the shared closet door, encased in a pristine garment bag, is the dress. My wedding dress. Or the dress that was supposed to be mine. A Devereaux. Silk thicker than cream, lace like frozen spiderwebs. My fingers, ghostlight, trace the outline of the sweetheart neckline through the plastic. 2 years. In 2 years, Sophia, my darling stepsister, will wear this dress. She'll glide down the aisle towards Marcus, my fiancé, her face a perfect mask of virginal joy, while I'll be 6 feet under, a convenient, tragic memory. The memories claw their way up, sharp and vivid. Sophia's smile, cold as chipped ice, as she handed me the champagne flute. "To new beginnings, Lily," she'd purred, her eyes glittering. The subtle, bitter aftertaste I'd dismissed as cheap fizz. The fire spreading through my veins, the agonizing paralysis. Her face the last I saw, her voice a silken whisper. "Don't worry, I'll take good care of everything, especially Marcus." Then the paramedics, the hushed apologies, the doctors shaking their heads. A sudden, aggressive illness, they'd called it. And Sophia, the grieving sister, her crocodile tears watering the seeds of her lies. Forged medical reports hinting at a secret drug habit, a fragile constitution. A new will conveniently discovered, leaving everything, including Grandmother Chen's considerable inheritance, to the ever-faithful Sophia. My Marcus, easily swayed by her practiced vulnerability, her carefully constructed narrative of my tragic downfall, and I'm 16 again. It's the morning of my father's remarriage. To Victoria, Sophia's mother. A tremor runs through me. This is where it all starts to unravel, where the first threads of their web were spun. Downstairs, the garden is already bustling. White chairs arranged in neat rows, a flower arch dripping with lilies. My namesake, a cruel irony. Victoria, resplendent in a pale gold dress that's a little too tight, fusses over Dad, who looks dazed but happy. And then there's Sophia, 18, blooming. A picture of supportive daughterly affection. She's charming Uncle David, one of the wealthiest relatives, with a story about her tireless volunteer work at the Children's Hospital. A story I recognize. It was my story. One of many she'd plagiarize in the coming years, building her image on my stolen efforts. "Lily, darling, you look a little pale," Victoria says, her smile not quite reaching her eyes. Those eyes, I remember them scanning my belongings after the funeral, calculating. "Just a bit overwhelmed, I guess," I manage, my voice surprisingly steady. Sophia glides over, all honeyed concern. "Are you okay, Lilybug? You know today is a happy day for all of us." She squeezes my arm, her nails digging in just a little too hard. The same fake concern she'd show the world after my mysterious illness had taken its course. I remember overhearing her, weeks after my death, whispering to Victoria about how poor Lily just couldn't handle the pressures of life, how her instability was becoming a burden they were struggling to manage. They'd planted diaries, fake emails, painting me as erratic, depressed, a disaster waiting to happen. And Sophia, the saintly sister, had tried so hard to save me. The ceremony is a blur of forced smiles and polite applause. I watch Sophia, a viper in chiffon, play her part to perfection. She dabs her eyes when Dad says his vows, offers a trembling, heartfelt speech about gaining a new father, a new family. Liar. Every word, every gesture, a calculated move. She's already laying the groundwork, enchanting the relatives who hold the purse strings, the ones whose opinions will matter when Grandmother Chen decides on her heir. The reception is in full swing when it happens. The first test, just like before. I'm holding a glass of lemonade, talking to Mrs. Henderson, when Sophia bumps into me hard. Red wine, a deep, staining crimson, sloshes from her glass all over the bodice of my white sundress. "Oh, Lily, I am so sorry," she exclaims, her voice dripping with theatrical distress. "How could I be so clumsy?" Last time I burst into tears. I ran upstairs, humiliated, while Sophia followed, offering help that only made the stain worse, her quiet, cutting remarks about my clumsiness echoing in the hallway. That was the start of it, the pattern of public humiliations, always framed as accidents, always with Sophia as the concerned, if slightly exasperated helper. This time, I don't cry. I look at the spreading stain, then up at Sophia's artfully horrified face. I smile, a small, knowing smile. It's quite all right, Sophia, I say, my voice calm, almost gentle. Thank you for being so gracefully clumsy. Accidents happen. Her eyes flicker, a momentary confusion crossing her features before the mask of concern slams back into place. Let me help you clean that up, she insists, reaching for a napkin. No need, I say, stepping back. I can manage. I turn to Mrs. Henderson. If you'll excuse me. In the powder room, I don't try to scrub the stain. I take out my phone, an older model than the one I died with, but functional. I carefully photograph the wine-soaked fabric, the precise pattern of the splatter, the first piece of evidence. My documentation has begun. Later that night, the house is quiet. Dad and Victoria have retired, exhausted from the festivities. I'm in my room, feigning sleep when I hear their voices. Victoria and Sophia, a low murmur from Sophia's adjoining room. I slip out of bed, pressing my ear to the connecting door, the cheap wood offering little resistance to their words. Grandmother Chen is coming next week, Victoria is saying. You know she's planning to update her will soon, darling. She's always had a soft spot for Lily, but Lily is so young, so naive. Sophia's voice, laced with that familiar, greedy excitement I remember all too well. Grandmother needs someone mature, someone who understands the world to manage her legacy. We just need to guide her decision, handle the Lily problem. The Lily problem. That's what I was. A problem to be handled, to be removed. My heart, a cold stone in my chest, doesn't even flutter. Foreknowledge is a bitter gift. I know their timeline. 18 months until Grandmother Chen's death from a sudden stroke, Sophia will later confide, was probably for the best, dear, she was getting so frail. 2 years until my own meticulously planned murder. I slide back into bed, the wine-stained dress still lying on my chair. 2 years. It's not a lot of time. But this time, I'm not the naive, trusting Lily. This time, I know the game. And I'm ready to play. My counter-strategy is already taking shape, its edges sharp and unforgiving. This time, Sophia won't be stealing my dress or my life. This time, she'll get exactly what she deserves. The next few months are a masterclass in duplicity, mine and Sophia's. I play the role of the grateful, slightly awkward stepdaughter to perfection. I'm quiet, observant, always with a hesitant smile for Victoria, always deferential to Sophia. Inside, I'm a scientist, cataloging every microaggression, every stolen idea, every subtle sabotage. Sophia, of course, thrives. She's the golden child, effortlessly charming, academically brilliant. On the back of my research notes, naturally. She borrows my chemistry homework, forgets to return it, then presents my conclusions as her own insightful analysis. When I get a B+ on the redone assignment and she gets an A for my original work, she offers a sympathetic hug. Don't worry, Lilybug, not everyone can be a science whiz. Maybe try art? She says, her voice like poisoned honey. I smile sweetly. You're probably right, Sophia. Thanks for the advice. Click. Another mental photograph for the archive. She claims credit for the bake sale I organized for the local animal shelter, posing for the local paper with a tray of my brownies, talking about her lifelong passion for our furry friends. I stand in the background, beaming like a proud little sister, while internally noting the date, the photographer, the headline, Sophia March, a young philanthropist with a heart of gold. The evidence file grows. She helps me with my college applications, offering to proofread my essays. I find them later, subtly altered, key achievements minimized. My tone shifted from ambitious to uncertain. Just a few tweaks to make you sound more relatable, sweetie, she explains, her eyes wide and innocent. I thank her profusely for her invaluable assistance, then spend the night meticulously undoing her help, resubmitting my original stronger versions with an added password protection she wouldn't guess. The little acts of sabotage extend to my friendships. My best friend Chloe suddenly starts acting distant. It doesn't take long to trace it back to Sophia's carefully planted seeds of doubt. Lily's just been so withdrawn lately, Sophia had confided to Chloe, her brow furrowed with concern. And a bit possessive of our parents' attention since the wedding. I'm worried about her. I don't confront Chloe. Instead, I invite her over, share my entirely fabricated anxieties about adjusting to the new family dynamic, subtly painting Sophia as the slightly overbearing older sister who means well, but sometimes smothers me. Chloe, bless her loyal heart, eats it up. Sophia's attempt to isolate me backfires. Chloe becomes even more protective. Grandmother Chen's first visit since the remarriage is exactly as I remember. She arrives in her chauffeured Bentley, a tiny, formidable woman with eyes that miss nothing. Sophia is a whirlwind of filial devotion. She's suddenly developed a deep interest in traditional Chinese tea ceremonies, reciting facts she's clearly memorized from a website. Victoria hovers, prompting her with Mandarin phrases, beaming with pride. Sophia has such a natural affinity for her heritage, Victoria gushes to Grandmother Chen. What they don't know is that in my previous life, after Grandmother Chen's death and my inheritance, which Sophia promptly seized, I found a box of her old letters, written in Mandarin. Driven by a desperate need to connect with the only family member who'd shown me genuine kindness, I'd taught myself the language, secretly, painstakingly. Now, as Sophia stumbles over a mispronounced proverb about filial piety, I interject softly. I believe the tone on Xiao should be falling, Sophia, not rising. It changes the meaning quite significantly. A stunned silence. Sophia flushes a dull red. Victoria looks aghast. Grandmother Chen's sharp eyes fix on me, a flicker of surprise, then something else. Interest? You speak Mandarin, Lily? She asks, her voice neutral. Just a little, grandmother, I say demurely. I find the linguistic nuances fascinating. For instance, Sophia, when you mentioned the symbolism of the peony, you said it represents wealth and honor. While true, in some older texts, it also alludes to a certain ephemeral beauty, a warning against vanity. Isn't that interesting? Sophia stares at me, speechless. She'd memorized the surface, the pretty sound bites, but not the substance. I've just exposed her cultural appropriation as a shallow performance. Later, I overhear Grandmother Chen asking Victoria, quite pointedly, when exactly Sophia had developed this profound connection to a culture Victoria herself had largely ignored. The first seed of doubt about Sophia's sincerity is planted, not by an accusation, but by an innocent, well-placed question. The social media campaign begins subtly. Anonymous comments on my fledgling art blog questioning my originality. Vague, unpleasant rumors start circulating at school. I know this playbook. In my past life, it escalated into a full-blown cyberbullying campaign with fake profiles, doctored photos, and vicious lies that painted me as unstable and promiscuous. It destroyed my reputation, paving the way for Sophia's narrative of my tragic descent. This time, I'm ready. I find the fake accounts easily. Sophia isn't particularly creative with her usernames. Instead of reporting them or confronting her, I screenshot everything. Every comment, every post, every timestamp. I document the IP addresses, trace them back to the family computer, to Sophia's phone. While she's busy crafting her online poison, I'm building my digital fortress. I even start my own set of encrypted files, mirroring her digital footprint, creating a shadow archive of her malicious activities. Publicly, I gush about how lucky I am to have such a supportive big sister like Sophia, who always looks out for me online. Her smile when I say this in front of Victoria is tight. Then Marcus Chen enters the picture, right on schedule. It's at the Weatherby's annual garden party, a stuffy affair I dreaded in my past life. Marcus, handsome, intelligent, a bit serious. The son of Grandmother Chen's closest business associate, my future fiancé, my future widower. Sophia spots him like a shark scenting blood. She's on him in seconds, her laughter a little too loud, her hand brushing his arm a little too often. She's weaving her usual spell, the sophisticated, worldly older sister. I watch, a strange detachment settling over me. He looks vaguely uncomfortable. When I'm finally introduced, Sophia tries to frame me. This is my little sister, Lily. She's a bit shy, still finding her feet. Marcus smiles politely. It's a pleasure, Lily. We talk, and unlike last time where I was tongue-tied and intimidated by Sophia's presence, this time I'm calm. I ask him about his recent trip to Shanghai, a trip Sophia had tried to grill him about, getting all the details wrong. I share a genuine insight about a new tech incubator his family's company is funding, something I'd read about in a financial journal. His eyebrows lift. That's surprisingly astute, he says, looking at me with new interest. Most people just ask me about the traffic. Sophia, listening in, forces a laugh. Oh, Lily sometimes says the most random things. But the damage is done. Marcus's attention keeps drifting back to me. He asks my opinion on a recent art exhibition, and we discover a shared passion for Impressionism. Sophia tries to interject, talking about a modern artist she clearly knows nothing about, mispronouncing the name. Marcus's polite smile doesn't waver, but I see the slight frown, the almost imperceptible shift in his gaze. He's starting to see the cracks in Sophia's flawless facade. Her mask of charming sophistication slips for a fraction of a second, revealing a flash of cold, calculating envy in her eyes as she looks at me. I remember that look. It's the same look she gave me right before she handed me the poisoned champagne. The week before Grandmother Chen's next visit, I noticed Sophia acting furtively around Victoria's office, the one downstairs where she keeps her household accounts and her emergency cash. I remember this. In my past life, Sophia framed me for stealing $200 from Victoria's purse. It was a clumsy setup, but Victoria, already predisposed to see me as troubled, thanks to Sophia's whispers, had almost believed it. I'd been threatened with boarding school. The humiliation had been intense. This time, I know it's coming. I install a tiny motion-activated camera, no bigger than a button, disguised as a decorative thumbtack on the bulletin board opposite Victoria's desk. 2 days later, the camera's memory card shows me exactly what I expected. Sophia, looking around conspiratorially, slipping into the office, opening Victoria's purse, counting out the cash, then tiptoeing into my room and tucking the money into my school blazer pocket. She even wiped her fingerprints from the notes. Amateur. The old Lily would have panicked, tried to put the money back, probably getting caught in the act. The new Lily smiles. That evening, just before dinner, I walk into the living room where Victoria's reading. I'm holding the $200. Victoria, I say, my voice trembling with just the right amount of innocent confusion. I found this in my blazer pocket. I don't know how it got there. Is it yours? Victoria looks up, surprised. My money? What are you talking about? It was in my school jacket, I repeat, holding it out. I was getting my homework, and it just fell out. I thought maybe you'd put it there for my school trip and forgotten to tell me. Sophia, who has just entered the room, freezes. Her face is a mask of bewildered fury. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. I was supposed to be caught with the money, stammering denials. Victoria takes the cash, frowning. Well, this is odd. I was missing $200. I thought I'd misplaced it. She looks from me to Sophia, a thoughtful expression on her face. How very strange. But thank you for returning it, Lily. Very honest of you. Of course, I say, lowering my eyes modestly. I wouldn't dream of keeping something that wasn't mine. Sophia glares at me, her jaw tight. Her perfect little setup, her plan to further discredit me before grandmother's visit, has just imploded, and she has no idea how. I almost feel a flicker of pity. Almost. I give her a small, bewildered smile. Are you okay, Sophia? You look a bit flushed. She forces a tight smile. Perfectly fine, Lilybug. Just surprised you're so honest. The air crackles with unspoken accusations. Victoria is looking at Sophia with a new, searching expression. My first silent move is complete, and it's a resounding success. The game is truly afoot. The History Project. It was a cornerstone of Sophia's academic sabotage in my past life. Our topic: Chinese American immigration during the gold rush. I'd poured weeks into it, unearthing obscure journals, finding firsthand accounts. Sophia had offered to help by collating our research into a shared document. The night before it was due, the file was corrupted. My work, gone. Her section, miraculously, was perfect. She'd submitted it under her name, claiming I'd done nothing. I'd failed the assignment. She'd received an A and a commendation. It cost me a shot at the Chen Historical Society scholarship, a scholarship Sophia later graciously accepted in my absence. This time, I see it coming a mile off. I still do the meticulous research, but I create two versions. Version A, the real one, filled with nuanced analysis and primary source citations, I save on a private encrypted drive. Version B, the decoy, is deliberately average. Good enough to be plausible as my work, but riddled with subtle errors a keen eye would spot, filled with easily refutable secondary source claims. This is the version I share with Sophia in our Google Doc. A week before the due date, she makes her move. "Lilybug, the file looks weird. I think it's corrupted," she says, her voice laced with faux panic. "My part is okay. I saved a backup, but yours, it's all garbled." I perform my devastation flawlessly. Tears well up. My voice cracks. "No, all that work. What am I going to do?" Victoria rushes in, alerted by Sophia's loud exclamations. Sophia is the picture of sisterly concern, one arm around my trembling shoulders. "Don't worry, Lily, we'll figure something out. Maybe you can ask for an extension." I feel so terrible this happened with our shared file. She squeezes my shoulder a little too tightly. Her eyes, when she thinks I'm not looking, are gleaming with triumph. I secretly record her smug, satisfied little smiles when she's alone in our room, her sotto voce comment to her reflection. "Poor Lily, so careless." I frantically try to rewrite my section, making it deliberately worse, more panicked, more superficial. Sophia helps, offering suggestions that lead me further astray. She's enjoying this, the power, the control. The day of the presentation, I'm a wreck, or so I appear. I'm pale, my eyes are red-rimmed, a little onion juice in my handkerchief, a trick learned from a dramatic film. When it's my turn, I stumble through a disjointed, poorly researched summary of my recovered section. It's painful to watch. Sophia sits in the front row, a mask of sympathetic pity firmly in place. Then, I break down. "Mr. Harrison," I sniffle, addressing our history teacher, I have to confess, my project file was corrupted a week ago. Sophia tried to help me salvage it, but most of my original research was lost. This isn't my best work." Mr. Harrison, a kind, elderly man with a sharp mind, looks concerned. "I'm sorry to hear that, Lily. Technical difficulties can be devastating." "Actually, Mr. Harrison," I say, my voice gaining a little strength, "I was so worried about the deadline, I actually submitted an earlier draft directly to your portal 5 days ago, just in case. With all my research notes and bibliography timestamped. I wasn't sure if it was allowed, but I was desperate." A hush falls over the classroom. Sophia's head whips around, her eyes narrowed. Mr. Harrison frowns. "An earlier draft? Let me check." He taps on his laptop. A moment later, his eyebrows shoot up. "Well, I'll be. Lily, you're right. There's a submission here, time-stamped last Tuesday at 3:15 p.m. And it's comprehensive. Very well documented." He peers at me over his glasses. "So, the presentation you just gave was—" "A panicked attempt to reconstruct what I thought was lost," I say, looking suitably ashamed. Sophia's version was so much better she'd managed to save all her work. Now it's Sophia's turn. She stands, confident, and launches into her presentation, which is, of course, my version A. My meticulously researched, eloquently written version A. She delivers it flawlessly, hitting all the key points. When she finishes, Mr. Harrison smiles. "Excellent work, Sophia. Truly insightful. Just a few clarifying questions, if you don't mind. You mentioned the Quan family's letters from Canton. Could you elaborate on their specific descriptions of the anti-Chinese sentiment in the mining camps of 52? Sophia blinks. "The Quan family?" "Yes," Mr. Harrison says, his gaze sharpening. "The letters you quoted extensively on page 7 of your submitted paper. The ones detailing the foreign miners' tax impact. Sophia pales. I'd fabricated the Quan family letters in version a perfect little trap of obscure, non-existent primary sources. She has no idea what he's talking about. Um, I I'd have to check my notes, she stammers. No need, Mr. Harrison says, his voice turning cool. He holds up a printed page. Because these are Lily's notes, submitted last Tuesday, describing the fictional Quan family she created as a literary device to illustrate the period's xenophobia, a device she explained in her methodology statement. The classroom is silent enough to hear a pin drop. Sophia's face is a mask of horror. Sophia, Mr. Harrison says, his voice stern, it appears the paper you submitted under your name is, in fact, Lily's work, verbatim. Would you care to explain? Sophia opens and closes her mouth like a landed fish. All eyes are on her. I offer a helpful interjection. Mr. Harrison, I'm sure it's just a misunderstanding. Sophia was helping me so much when my file got corrupted. Maybe our files got mixed up on her computer? I look at Sophia with wide, innocent eyes. Did they, Sophia? Is that what happened? Her eyes blaze at me with pure hatred. She knows she's caught, utterly and completely. The fallout is immediate and satisfying. Sophia is accused of plagiarism, a very serious offense at our competitive prep school. Victoria is summoned. She tries to bluster, to minimize, to suggest it's a misunderstanding between sisters. But my documented, time-stamped submission, my detailed research logs, all part of version A's appendix, and Sophia's inability to answer a single question about her own paper are irrefutable. Sophia is placed on academic probation. Her top-choice college, the one she'd been lording over me for months, sends a letter stating they're reevaluating her early admission offer in light of recent academic integrity concerns. She has to make a public apology to me in front of Mr. Harrison and the head of school. It's a stilted, resentful apology, but it's public. I apologize, Lily, for the mix-up with our history projects, she mumbles, refusing to meet my eye. Oh, Sophia, I say, my voice dripping with false sympathy, though my eyes are cold. I just don't understand why you'd do it. I thought we were sharing, helping each other. I managed to squeeze out a few tears. Didn't you trust me to do good work on my own? Victoria looks like she wants the ground to swallow her. Dad looks confused and disappointed. Sophia is radiating pure fury. Later that evening, she corners me in our shared bathroom. The mask is gone. Her face is contorted with rage. You little bitch, she hisses, her voice low and venomous. You set me up. You planned this. I feign shock, my hand flying to my mouth. Sophia, what are you talking about? How could you say that? My phone, nestled in my robe pocket, is recording everything audio and video thanks to a tiny pinhole lens I'd carefully installed. Don't play innocent with me, she snarls, advancing on me. You think you're so clever? You'll pay for this. I'll make you pay for this humiliation. Pay for what? I whisper, backing away until my back hits the cool tiles. For you stealing my work? For you lying? You embarrassed me. You ruined my college chances. She seethes, her hands clenching into fists. You'll regret this, Lily. I swear you will. I let a tear trace a path down my cheek. I don't understand, Sophia. You were always so kind to me. Why are you being so cruel now? Her laugh is harsh. Kind? You think I was ever genuinely kind to you, you pathetic little charity case? I tolerated you, but you've crossed a line. She jabs a finger at my chest. This isn't over, not by a long shot. She storms out, slamming the door so hard the mirror rattles. I wait a beat, then calmly retrieve my phone. I watch the recording. Her face twisted in malice, her threats clear and unambiguous. A cold smile touches my lips. This is gold, pure gold. I label the file Sophia_threats_postplagiarism.mp4 and add it to my meticulously organized evidence folder. The first taste of retribution is sweet, but it's only an appetizer. The main course is yet to come. And I know Sophia. Humiliation doesn't chasten her, it fuels her. Her retaliation will be swift and vicious. I need to be ready. Sophia's retaliation isn't long in coming. She doesn't resort to physical violence yet, Her methods are more insidious, designed to unravel my mind or at least the perception of it. She starts small, misplacing my textbooks before important exams, accidentally spilling coffee on my art portfolio. Then she escalates, reviving the old rumors about my mental fragility, but with a new, venomous twist. She confides in Victoria in a voice loud enough for me to overhear that she's terribly worried about Lily. "She's been talking to herself, Mom," Sophia says, her voice laced with fake concern. "And I found these drawings. They're really dark. And she's been scratching her arms again. I think the stress of the plagiarism incident, maybe it triggered something." The scratchings are faint red lines on my forearm, drawn with a non-permanent marker, easily washed off. The dark drawings are charcoal sketches I'd deliberately left in a half-open drawer. Abstract, certainly, but hardly indicative of psychosis. It's the same tactic she used in my past life, the one that led to hushed consultations with expensive therapists, a brief, terrifying stay in a private psychiatric facility, and a diagnosis of adjustment disorder with anxious features that haunted my academic record. This time, I'm prepared. Weeks ago, I initiated conversations with Mrs. Albright, the school counselor, discussing the normal stresses of a competitive academic environment and my strategies for managing them: mindfulness, journaling, regular exercise. I'd shown her my art, explaining my exploration of emotional expression through abstract forms. I'd even confided in her my slight worry about Sophia's intense reaction to the plagiarism issue, how she seemed to be projecting her own stress onto me. So when Victoria, her face a mask of worried solicitude, suggests a chat with a specialist, I agree readily. "That might be helpful, Victoria. Perhaps Sophia could join us. I think she's taking this whole thing harder than I am." The specialist, Dr. Evans, is the same one from before, but this time, when he asks about my symptoms, I calmly explain Sophia's recent behavior, her misinterpretations of my art, her unfounded concerns. I show him my clear arms. I talk about my sessions with Mrs. Albright, my healthy coping mechanisms. I express my concern for Sophia's escalating anxiety. Sophia, present at the consultation at my insistence, looks thunderous. Her carefully constructed narrative of my impending breakdown is crumbling. Dr. Evans, instead of scheduling me for intensive therapy, suggests Sophia might benefit from some sessions to manage her own anxieties regarding her sister's well-being. Victoria is stunned. Sophia is incandescent with rage. The attempt to label me mentally unstable backfires spectacularly, casting Sophia as the one who's overwrought and possibly malicious. Her next move is to target my friendships. She tries to poison Chloe and my other close friends, Emily and Jess, against me. She spins tales of my jealousy over her now jeopardized college prospects, my attention-seeking behavior, my manipulation of the plagiarism incident. But I've already laid the groundwork. Months ago, I'd shared my concerns with Chloe, Emily, and Jess about Sophia's increasingly erratic behavior since the remarriage. "She just seems so competitive with me sometimes," I'd said, feigning confusion. "And she says odd things, like she thinks I'm trying to undermine her. It's a bit worrying." So, when Sophia launches her smear campaign, my friends recognize the pattern. They've already seen her erratic side. Her lies about me sound like projections, exactly what I'd worried about. Instead of turning against me, they rally around me, their loyalty solidified by Sophia's obvious manipulations. Sophia finds herself increasingly isolated, her attempts to play the victim met with cool skepticism. Her social power, once a formidable weapon, is waning. Then there's Marcus. Sophia, perhaps sensing her other avenues of attack are failing, redoubles her efforts with him. She invites him to family dinners, positions herself as the sophisticated, witty older sister, constantly drawing comparisons between her maturity and my charming ingenuousness. She dresses provocatively, laughs a little too loudly at his jokes, finds excuses to touch his arm, his shoulder. But I'm not the naive girl she remembers. I'm not competing for Marcus's attention. I'm engaging his intellect. During those family dinners, while Sophia flirts, I discuss the latest article in The Economist on Asian market trends, knowing Marcus follows it avidly. I ask his opinion on a new biography of a historical figure we both admire. I reference obscure philosophers whose works I know he studied. My knowledge isn't feigned. In my previous life, after his too quick engagement to Sophia, I'd immersed myself in his interests, desperately trying to understand what he saw in her, what I had lacked. Now that painful research serves a new purpose. Sophia, meanwhile, makes blunders. Trying to impress Marcus with her knowledge of his family's philanthropic work, she confuses their initiatives in Kenya with their projects in Cambodia. She mispronounces the name of his beloved grandmother's favorite poet. Small things, but they accumulate. Marcus is polite always, but I see the flicker of doubt in his eyes, the slight tightening of his smile. He's intelligent. He's beginning to see through Sophia's superficial charm to the calculated performance beneath. He starts seeking me out for conversations, his questions about my surprising insights becoming more frequent, his gaze lingering a little longer. Sophia watches these exchanges with a barely concealed fury. Driven by a need for more concrete evidence of Sophia's schemes, knowing her desperation will lead to recklessness, I begin a quiet investigation into her finances. In my past life, after my death, it was discovered that Sophia had been systematically embezzling small sums from Victoria's household accounts and even from Dad's business for years. The amounts were cleverly disguised, written off as expenses, never enough to raise alarm bells individually, but cumulatively significant. She'd used the money to fund her designer wardrobe, her expensive social life, the very bribes that secured her place in certain circles. It all came out too late for me, just another layer of her treachery. This time, I know where to look. While Victoria and Dad are out, and Sophia is at a study group, which I know is actually a shopping trip, I access Victoria's online banking, her expense spreadsheets. It's laughably easy. Victoria's password is Victoria123. The pattern is already there. Small, regular withdrawals categorized as miscellaneous household, supplier payments, educational materials. Cross-referencing these with Sophia's social media posts. A new Chanel bag here, a weekend spa trip there, paints a clear picture. I photograph everything with my phone. Bank statements, spreadsheet entries, Sophia's bragging posts. I don't reveal it, not yet. Instead, I start planting subtle questions. Victoria, I ask one evening, feigning confusion over a receipt. This payment to Artisan Events Company, was that for the charity gala you were planning? It seems quite high for a deposit. Victoria frowns. Artisan Events? I haven't used them in months. Let me see that. A seed of doubt, a tiny discrepancy. Enough to make Victoria start paying closer attention, to start questioning the numbers that Sophia has been so skillfully manipulating. Sophia feels her control slipping. Her usual tactics, manipulation, sabotage, rumor-mongering, are not only failing but backfiring. She's becoming increasingly frustrated, her composure fraying. This is when she becomes dangerous, the family hiking trip. It's an annual tradition, one Dad insists on, a picturesque but moderately challenging trail in the nearby mountains. I remember this hike from my past life with a chill. There was an accident. I'd slipped on a loose rock near a steep drop, spraining my ankle badly. Sophia had been right behind me and had tried to catch me but couldn't. Her story. I'd always had a nagging feeling it wasn't an accident, that her hand on my back had felt more like a push than a steadying gesture. This time, I'm prepared. I have a small, high-definition sports camera clipped discreetly to my backpack strap, recording everything. I also have a very loud personal alarm in my pocket. We reach the same treacherous spot, a narrow ledge with a sheer drop on one side. Just like before, Sophia is walking directly behind me. I stumble, feigning a loss of balance. And just like before, I feel her hand on my back. But this time, I'm braced for it. It's definitely a push, not a violent shove, but a firm, deliberate pressure designed to send me off balance over the edge. I go with it, but control my fall. Instead of tumbling into the abyss, I execute a practiced roll onto the narrow, mossy outcrop a few feet below the main trail, a spot I'd scouted on a solo nature walk the week before. I cry out, a sharp scream of pain clutching my ankle. "Lily!" Dad shouts, his voice filled with panic. Victoria gasps. Sophia's reaction is delayed. She peers over the edge, her face a strange mixture of shock and... Is that disappointment? Oh my God, Lily, are you okay? Her voice lacks genuine alarm. I'm already writhing in agony. My ankle, I think it's broken, I wail. Dad is already scrambling down, his face pale. Victoria is wringing her hands. Sophia just stands there, looking down at me. My camera is still recording her every expression, her too slow reaction, her lack of immediate concern. She just slipped, Sophia says to Dad, her voice a little too defensive. I tried to grab her, but it happened so fast. Liar. My camera and the subtle bruises that will later appear on my back from her grip will tell a different story. This accident, this preview of the violence that ultimately led to my murder, is now documented. Sophia, in her desperation, has overplayed her hand. Her attempts to harm me are no longer deniable accidents. They are becoming a pattern I am meticulously, patiently recording. Her unraveling is accelerating, and I am there to capture every moment. The weeks following the hiking accident are tense. Sophia is sullen and resentful, clearly furious that her attempt to incapacitate me, or worse, failed so spectacularly and only drew more scrutiny to her behavior. Victoria, though outwardly concerned for my recovery, I milk the sprained ankle for all it's worth, wearing a dramatic brace long after it's healed, is also clearly unnerved. Dad is more attentive to me, a guilt-ridden sympathy in his eyes that Sophia clearly despises. It's during one of Grandmother Chen's increasingly frequent visits that the next piece of the puzzle slots into place. She requests to speak with me alone in the conservatory, her favorite room, filled with orchids and the scent of damp earth. Lily, she begins, her sharp eyes studying me intently. She's holding a small, intricately carved jade pendant. Your mother gave this to me many years ago. She asked me to give it to you when I felt you were ready. My breath catches. My mother. She died when I was 10. A sudden illness that, in retrospect, felt eerily similar to my own demise in the previous timeline. Grandmother, I whisper, what did my mother tell you? Her gaze softens, a rare occurrence. Your mother, Lynn, was a smart woman. She saw things others missed. Before she married your father, she had concerns about Victoria and about Victoria's daughter, Sophia. My heart pounds. Concerns? What kind of concerns? She felt Victoria was ambitious, perhaps unscrupulously so. And she observed a possessiveness, a manipulative streak in young Sophia even then. Lynn worried that if anything happened to her, you would be vulnerable. Grandmother Chen's fingers tighten on the jade pendant. She made me promise to watch over you, and to ensure that her own family's legacy, the Chen family legacy, would pass to someone of true character, not to someone who merely performed it. A wave of understanding washes over me. The inheritance. It wasn't just about money or grandmother's whim. It was a promise to my mother. All these years, grandmother continues, her voice low, I have been watching, testing. Sophia, with her flamboyant displays of affection, her carefully rehearsed knowledge of our culture. It was always a performance, a rather clumsy one at times. A faint smile touches her lips. You, on the other hand, Lily, you are quiet, observant. You speak when you have something to say, not just to fill the silence. Your Mandarin is self-taught, isn't it? Learned from my old letters, perhaps? I nod, speechless. She knew. She'd known all along. The inheritance, Lily, she says, her voice firming, is not just the money your father and Victoria are so fixated upon. It is much more. It is a controlling interest in Chen Global Holdings. I stare at her. Chen Global Holdings? The multinational conglomerate? It's one of the largest private companies in the region, with diverse interests in technology, real estate, and sustainable energy. Its value is astronomical, far beyond anything Sophia, in her wildest, greediest dreams, could have imagined. I have been building this, quietly, for decades, Grandmother Chen says, a steely glint in her eye. Specifically for an heir who possesses not just intelligence, but integrity, resilience. Someone who understands its value beyond the monetary, someone like your mother, someone like you, Lily. The weight of her words is staggering. This isn't just about revenge anymore. This is about legacy. My mother's legacy. A future Sophia had tried to steal. a future I now had the power to reclaim, magnified 1,000-fold. Sophia believes she is on the cusp of inheriting a fortune, grandmother says, her lip curling slightly. She has no idea of the true scale or the true purpose. My mind is racing. This changes everything. The stakes are infinitely higher. And my evidence against Sophia? It's no longer just for my personal justice. It's to protect this vast legacy from her rapacious grasp. Grandmother, I say, my voice trembling slightly, there's something you need to see. I retrieve my encrypted hard drive. In the quiet solitude of the conservatory, surrounded by the silent, watching orchids, I show her everything. The meticulously cataloged evidence of Sophia's campaign against me, the academic theft, the detailed proof, the recordings of her threats, the documentation of the social media sabotage, the fake accounts, the IP traces, the footage from the hiking accident. Sophia's face a mask of cold intent as she pushes me. And finally, the financial records, the systematic theft from Victoria's accounts, cross-referenced with Sophia's extravagant purchases. Grandmother Chen watches, her face impassive, but her eyes are like chips of obsidian, hard and unforgiving. When I show her the footage of Sophia looking down at me after the fall, the distinct lack of immediate concern, she makes a small, sharp sound. The pattern is undeniable, she says, her voice like ice. In my previous life, grandmother, I confess, the words tumbling out, they called my death an accident, a sudden illness. But I believe, I know, Sophia poisoned me. For an inheritance she thought was substantial but was nothing compared to this. I then recount the details of my previous life's demise, the subtle clues, Sophia's chilling final words. Grandmother Chen listens without interruption. When I finish, there's a long silence. Then she says, "Your mother's fears were more prescient than even I imagined. That accident-prone reputation you had? Victoria's influence, no doubt, covering up these assault attempts." She taps a perfectly manicured nail on the screen, showing Sophia's enraged face after the plagiarism reveal. This girl is not just greedy, she is dangerous. She looks at me, a new respect in her eyes. You have been very thorough, Lily, very strategic. I had to be, I say simply. She left me no choice. Indeed. Grandmother Chen stands, a decisive energy about her. We will not let her succeed, not this time. Her lawyers, a discreet and powerful team, are summoned. They review my evidence with grim faces. Criminal charges are prepared: fraud, theft, attempted assault, conspiracy. But everything is kept under a veil of absolute secrecy. The inheritance documents are restructured, ironclad clauses put in place. Any attempt to contest Lily's claim, any hint of duress or foul play against her, would trigger the immediate public release of all documented evidence and the automatic filing of all criminal charges. Sophia's every potential move is anticipated, countered before it can even be conceived. Then, Grandmother Chen and I orchestrate the final act. An announcement is made. Due to her advancing years and desire to see her legacy secured, Grandmother Chen will be hosting an intimate family dinner to announce the early disbursement of a significant portion of her estate. The bait is laid. Sophia is ecstatic. She believes her moment has finally arrived. She becomes almost kind, sickeningly so. She fusses over me, offering me her favorite scarf because I still look a little pale since the hike. She talks endlessly about her plans to invest wisely and support charitable causes once she has the means to make a real difference. Her greed is a palpable thing, a suffocating miasma in every room she enters. We know what she'll do. She'll try to eliminate me. Permanently this time. No more accidents. She'll want it to be clean, untraceable, just like before. Poison. It's her signature, but this time, we are ready. Hidden cameras are installed throughout the dining room, the kitchen, the hallways. Sound recording is everywhere. Plainclothes security personnel posing as catering staff are briefed. Local police, personal friends of Grandmother Chen's chief legal counsel, are on discreet standby just minutes away. Witnesses, including Grandmother's most trusted lawyer and her personal physician, are strategically placed. The stage is set for Sophia's final performance, and for her reckoning. The night of the inheritance dinner arrives. cloaked in an almost theatrical sense of anticipation. The dining room gleams under the soft light of the crystal chandelier. Dad looks slightly bewildered by the suddenness of it all. Victoria is practically vibrating with controlled excitement. And Sophia? Sophia is a study in predatory grace. She's wearing a new dress, a deep crimson that sets off her dark hair, her eyes glittering with triumph. She believes this is her coronation. Grandmother Chen, regal and composed, presides at the head of the table. I sit to her right, playing the part of the quiet, slightly overwhelmed granddaughter. The catering staff move with unobtrusive efficiency, their eyes missing nothing. The first few courses pass in a blur of polite conversation, punctuated by Sophia's overly solicitous comments about grandmother's health and her generous spirit. Then, the champagne is poured, the same vintage Sophia used last time. My heart gives a single hard thud, a muscle memory of dread. As the waiter approaches me, Sophia intercepts him. "Oh, allow me," she purrs, taking the bottle. "Special occasions call for a personal touch, don't you think, grandmother?" She fills grandmother's glass, then Victoria's, then Dad's. Then she turns to me, her smile dazzling, deadly. She pours my champagne, her back momentarily shielding her actions from most of the table, but not from the tiny camera disguised as a cufflink on grandmother's lawyer's wrist, nor the one artfully concealed in the floral centerpiece. I see her other hand, the one holding a delicate antique silver vinaigrette she'd been fiddling with, dip almost imperceptibly towards my glass. A tiny, crystalline powder, invisible in the effervescence of the champagne. Oleander extract, refined, potent. Her signature. She offers me the glass. To family, Lilybug. And to new beginnings. The exact same words, the exact same chilling smile. But this time, I've switched our glasses. A subtle maneuver, practiced countless times, executed while she was grandstanding about pouring the champagne. The glass intended for me now sits before her. My glass, innocuous and clean, is in my hand. I raise it. To family, I echo, my voice clear and steady, my eyes locking with hers. And to clarity. I take a small, deliberate sip. Sophia watches me, her eyes avid, waiting for the first signs. The subtle flush, the slight tremor, the confusion. Nothing. She frowns, a tiny crack in her composure. She glances at her own glass, the one I am supposed to be drinking from. She picks it up, a flicker of uncertainty in her eyes. "Aren't you going to drink, Sophia?" I ask, my voice innocent. "To your new beginning?" She hesitates. Something is wrong. This isn't how it's supposed to play out. Her eyes dart around the table, a hunted look beginning to dawn. Grandmother Chen is watching her, her expression unreadable. Victoria is beaming, oblivious. Dad is smiling vaguely. "Of course," Sophia says, forcing a laugh. But she doesn't drink. She sets the glass down. "Actually, I'm feeling a little warm. Perhaps just some water for me." "Nonsense, darling," Victoria says. "It's a celebration. You must toast." Sophia's eyes are fixed on my face. I show no distress, no symptoms. Her carefully laid plan is derailing. Panic begins to well in her eyes. She has to make me drink her champagne. The one she knows is poisoned. "Lily, sweetie," she says, her voice a little too high-pitched. I think I might have poured you the wrong champagne. This one," she gestures to the glass in front of her, the poison one, "is the special reserve. You should have this one." She reaches for it, intending to switch them back. "No, Sophia, this one is fine," I say calmly, placing my hand protectively over my glass. Desperation flares in her eyes. Her mask is gone. The polite facade, the charming veneer, all stripped away, revealing the raw, ugly core of her murderous intent. "Drink it, Lily," she hisses, her voice dropping to a venomous whisper, lunging across the small space between us, trying to grab my glass to force it to my lips. "Drink it!" "I don't think so, Sophia," I say, my voice ringing out in the suddenly silent room. The catering staff move. Smoothly, silently, they are no longer serving. They are surrounding. Grandmother's lawyer stands, her physician rises. "Sophia, march," the lawyer says, his voice cold and authoritative. I believe you have something you'd like to confess. Sophia freezes, her hand still outstretched towards my glass. Her face is a mask of disbelief, then dawning horror as she sees the unsmiling faces around her, the grim set of Grandmother Chen's jaw. Confess? She stammers, trying to regain her composure, forcing a shaky laugh. I I don't know what you mean. This is a party. Lily, tell them. This is just a silly misunderstanding. She turns to me, her eyes pleading, then hardening when she sees the implacable resolve in mine. There's no misunderstanding, Sophia, I say, my voice resonating with the weight of 2 lifetimes of her deceit. You just tried to poison me. Again. Again! Victoria shrieks, finally understanding something is terribly wrong. What is she talking about, Sophia? Sophia ignores her mother, her gaze locked on me. You switched the glasses, she whispers, the accusation dawning. It seemed prudent, I reply, my voice devoid of emotion. Given your history. My history? She laughs, a wild, unhinged sound. You have no proof of anything. You're just jealous. You've always been jealous of me. Proof? I allow a small, cold smile to touch my lips. Oh, Sophia, I have so much proof. I gesture to the lawyer. Perhaps we should start with the financial irregularities in Victoria's accounts? Or the academic fraud at Northwood Prep? Or the rather unfortunate incident on the hiking trail? Or perhaps, my voice drops, each word a shard of ice. We should discuss what really happened to me 2 years ago, in another life, when you handed me a celebratory glass of champagne, just like tonight. Sophia stares at me, her face ashen. The fight drains out of her, she knows. Somehow I know everything. It was you, she breathes, her voice barely audible. It was always you, wasn't it? The little saint. The one everyone pitied, but you were always there, watching, judging. Then, a flicker of her old arrogance. Fine, so I wanted you out of the way. You were always in my way. The inheritance? It should have been mine. I deserved it. Her voice rises, becoming shrill. I worked for it. I managed grandmother. I managed father. I managed Victoria. You did nothing. You were just there. The confession, raw and unfiltered, hangs in the air, recorded by at least 5 different devices. And what about my mother, Sophia? I ask, my voice quiet but carrying in the stunned silence. Did you manage her too when she became an inconvenience? The color drains completely from Sophia's face. That, it seems, is a truth even she isn't prepared to voice aloud, not yet. Victoria is sobbing, incoherent. Dad looks like he's aged 10 years in as many minutes. It's all there, Sophia, I say, gesturing vaguely around the room. Every lie, every theft, every act of malice, every threat. Tonight's little performance with the oleander. It's all documented, 2 years' worth, from both lifetimes, if you will. The lead police officer, who had entered silently with 2 of his men during Sophia's tirade, steps forward. Sophia March, he says, his voice formal. You are under arrest for the attempted murder of Lily Chen, as well as multiple counts of fraud and theft. You have the right to remain silent. As they handcuff her, Sophia's composure shatters completely. She thrashes, screams, a wild animal caught in a trap. No, you can't do this to me. Lily, please, forgive me. We're family. You have to forgive family. Her eyes are wide, terrified, finally understanding the abyss she's staring into. Victoria joins the plea, rushing towards me. Lily, darling, please. She's your sister. She didn't mean it. She was just under pressure. You can't let them take her. Don't provoke this, Lily. Don't make it worse for her. I look at Sophia, at her tear-streaked, contorted face. I look at Victoria, her own face a mask of desperate, selfish denial. And I feel nothing. Just a vast, echoing emptiness where the pain used to be. Forgiveness, Sophia, I say, my voice calm, almost gentle amidst the chaos, requires an acknowledgement of harm, genuine remorse. You've shown neither, only regret at being caught. I turn to Victoria, and family, Victoria, doesn't systematically abuse, steal from, and attempt to murder their own. Family doesn't cover up crimes and blame the victim for provoking them. Sophia is still screaming as they lead her away. I'm your family, Lily. You can't do this. I meet her gaze one last time. You made your choice, Sophia, a long time ago, in this life and the last. The room is quiet now, save for Victoria's ragged sobs. Dad is slumped in his chair, his face buried in his hands. Grandmother Chen watches me, her expression a mixture of sorrow and fierce pride. The reckoning is complete, not with fire and fury, but with cold, hard truth, with the undeniable weight of meticulously gathered evidence. Sophia, the architect of my past demise, is finally facing justice, and I, Lily Chen, am finally free. 6 months later, the city skyline glitters outside my office window. It's the penthouse suite of Chen Global Holdings, an empire I officially inherited and now command. At 18, I'm one of the youngest female executives in the country, a fact the business journals are having a field day with. They call me a prodigy, an innovator. They don't know the half of it. I've restructured 3 subsidiary companies, divested from underperforming assets, and poured capital into sustainable tech research, just as Grandmother Chen and I had discussed. My platform, once a whispered rumor of my instability, is now a literal one, from which I advocate for victims of familial abuse and academic fraud, funding scholarships, and legal aid initiatives. Marcus is by my side not as a trophy snatched from a rival, but as a partner. Our engagement, announced last month, was a quiet affair, celebrated with close friends and Grandmother Chen. It's a relationship rebuilt from the ashes of Sophia's manipulations, founded on genuine mutual respect, shared passions, and a quiet understanding of the trials we've both, in our own ways, endured. The media portrays us as a power couple, but for us, it's simpler. It's peace. It's trust. Sophia is serving a 5-year sentence. Attempted murder, aggravated assault, multiple counts of fraud and theft. With good behavior, she might be out in 3. Victoria, implicated in covering up Sophia's financial crimes and attempting to obstruct justice, lost everything. Her social standing evaporated overnight. Dad, finally seeing the true extent of her manipulations, divorced her quietly. They are ghosts in my world now, cautionary tales whispered in shocked society circles, their power to inflict pain utterly extinguished. Their names are footnotes in the story of my ascent. I often catch my reflection in the polished boardroom table, in the glass of the window overlooking the sprawling city. The face that stares back is mine, yet not. The haunted, insecure girl I was in my first life, the one so easily gaslighted, so desperate for approval, is gone. In her place is a woman, young, yes, but forged in a crucible of betrayal and rebirth. The pain is a scar now, a reminder, not an open wound. My rebirth didn't just give me a chance for revenge. It gave me the chance to become the person I was always meant to be, before Sophia's shadow stunted my growth. Today I'm reviewing applications for the Lin Chen Phoenix Scholarship, a program I established in my mother's name for young people who have survived abuse and are striving to rebuild their lives. Grandmother Chen's jade pendant, the one my mother entrusted to her, is cool against my skin. It's a tether to the past, to the love that sought to protect me even beyond death, and a symbol of the future I am now building. A soft knock on the door. It's Marcus, a gentle smile on his face. Ready for lunch, CEO Chen? He teases. I smile back a genuine, unburdened smile. Always ready for you, Mr. Chen, to be. We walk out, hand in hand, the city spread beneath us like a promise. The shadows of my past are finally laid to rest. My new legacy, built on truth, strength, and an unyielding will to not just survive but to thrive, is just beginning. The dress, the one that started it all, I donated it to a charity that provides formal wear for underprivileged girls. Let someone else have a beautiful beginning, untainted by deceit. My own new beginning needs no such trappings. It only needs me. And this time that is more than enough.